I'm Mr. Mauser Man, and welcome to Gun01, a series where I teach basic firearms knowledge at a level that anyone can understand. In last week's video, I covered the 4 universal rules of gun safety. In this video, however, I will focus on 3 additional rules that, while not as universal, still are very good to keep everyone safe. Number 1 is wear appropriate eye and ear protection whenever someone around you is shooting. Simply put, even one shot from a gun that is not very powerful is enough to cause permanent hearing damage. Now, there are some people in this world who seem to think that neglecting safety equipment is cool. It was me. I was the person who thought that neglecting safety equipment was cool. However, that changed because while you may look cooler if you're not wearing your earmuffs, you will not be cooler when you are in your 50s and you can't hear the sounds of your grandkids talking. So neglecting safety equipment is not cool. However, there is a key word here: appropriate. That means that your noise-canceling earbuds are not appropriate hearing equipment. Earbuds are not appropriate hearing equipment. You should be wearing muffs or plugs that are specifically designed for shooting. If you're shooting indoors, it may even be good to double up on these things. Number 2 is eye protection. Some people don't wear glasses all the time. They only wear safety glasses if they're shooting at things that might bounce back at them, like bowling pins or steel targets. I personally choose to wear them at all times when I'm shooting because I've been shooting and had little flakes of things hit me, and because I shoot a lot of old stuff, and sometimes the old stuff is not as safe as some of the newer things. So I recommend wearing safety glasses all the time. You can get cheap ones like this. They also make ones that are larger and fit over eyeglasses if you have that. I picked up these shooting glasses from Walmart that are my prescription, and they were like $50 or $60. They weren't that insane. Number 2, follow the 180 rule. The 180 rule is that there is an imaginary line that is parallel to the backstop. This means that wherever the shooter is, there is a line in front of the shooter that no one else is allowed to cross. No one should be in front of the shooter while he is shooting, and the shooter should not point his gun back behind that line. This means that if you are the shooter and someone walks in front of that line, you should stop shooting immediately. Number 3, store your gun safely for you. This one is worded with a lot of wiggle room because safe storage looks differently for each person. But here are 3 factors to consider. Number 1, bad guys, criminals, opportunists. And this differs depending on where you live, but for me, I consider my house as a safe place, but my car is not a safe place. So in order to secure my guns from bad guys, I do not keep guns in my car. Some people may choose to do this. If you do choose to keep a gun in your car, I recommend not putting a lot of stickers on it that advertise that there is a gun in your car, or leaving it in plain view. Number 2, people who are allowed to have access to your home, but who you might not want to have access to your firearms. If you have young children, you should not leave firearms lying around your house where they might be able to have access to them. That's just not safe. Other things to consider might be family members with mental illness, guests who might be curious, people who might be home when you're not, such as maintenance men, Airbnb hosts, or your wife's boyfriend. My wife and I do not have children right now, and she's safe around firearms, and I'm safe around firearms. And whenever we have guests here, we're home, so we're watching them. So I don't necessarily see any issue with leaving this Nagant revolver on my bookshelf when I'm not home. Number 3, personal crisis. Sadly, the statistics show that intentional self-inflicted gunshot wounds are among the most common gun-related deaths. Some people recommend that you store your gun and your ammo in separate locked containers, and this is a thought that's often scoffed at by people in the gun community because we tend to highlight rapid preparedness, having a gun ready right away. Now, I don't think that it is a bad thing that we want to be rapidly ready, but if you are a threat to yourself, you need to consider that in where you store your guns, or if you own guns or have them accessible to you at all. Now, considering the aspects of my life, I have no problem keeping a loaded handgun on my nightstand at night, or really whenever I want to. So if you ask people about the rules of gun safety, they're most likely going to say the 4 things mentioned in the previous video, but not the things mentioned in this video. I like to include these things though because I think they are great rules for protecting yourself and protecting others.